Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about scissor skills, and I wanted to show you some scissors, regular child size scissors. These are one of the ones that I like the best. They have a little lever right here that you can pull down and it makes it self-opening. Another example, I just found these at the dollar store. They're always at the dollar store. These can be regular scissors, or if you want, they have this that you can flip over and make them self-opening. So these are great and they're really easy. They're always at the dollar store. But for kids that are just starting to use scissors, it's really great to have the option to make them self-opening like this. So the first thing we're going to talk about is basically how to prompt them to put their scissors on the right way. So we always want them to have their scissors on with their thumb in the small hole and their fingers, one or two fingers in the bigger hole. And you want them to hold the scissors so that their thumb is always upright. So their thumb is facing the ceiling. So a lot of times you'll see kids try to turn their scissors like this, but we really want to keep their thumb up. Another thing you'll see is their elbow will go up, which is fine in the very beginning, but if you can try to get their elbow down when they're cutting, it'll make it a lot easier for these kids. So you can either help them put it on their hand, or what I like to do is set it up on the surface. So if this is your surface and you set it up so that the small hole is facing in, and then all they have to do is put their hand in like this, and they can kind of get it on themselves. So those are two really great ways of having them work on putting them on themselves. Some of the things that you can do to have them practice cutting is, if they're just starting out cutting, just using simple items like this is just a plastic straw. So just working on them holding the straw or whatever it is and just snipping. So just closing the scissors and cutting. If you need to in the very beginning help them hold the straw, that's perfectly fine, or the piece of paper or whatever. That's perfectly fine, but I would have them have their hand on it too, so that they get the concept of using both hands together. Another thing you can do is toilet paper rolls. Just have them snipping it, and just practice cutting the toilet paper rolls. Another great thing to use is note cards. So the thicker the paper is, the easier it is for them to start cutting. So if they're just starting to learn how to use scissors, give them thicker paper. I just put little lines on it with numbers, so they can just work on snipping. So if you prompt them just to snip, just like that, open and close the scissors. If they really need help, you can have them put it on and just help them close the scissors so that they get that concept. Once they get past that and they're ready to really start cutting in a forward direction, you can work on a bunch of different things. So I just made something with their favorite character on it. It's just a basic line. If this is too much for them, then you can go with a smaller line, something like this. But instead of giving them a big piece of paper, it's better to give them smaller pieces like this. That way they're holding it with one hand and they're really working on cutting it, and it's just easier to manage the paper that way. Some other things that you can use, foam is a great thing to work with. Thicker paper like this cardboard type of paper is really great too. If they're just starting out, again, you want to cut it so that it's smaller. So I might cut it like this into a strip. Give them this strip, and then they just work on snipping like that, opening and closing the scissors. Once they get the line, you can start working on like curved lines, so that they're working on a curve to work on circles and squares. Some other great things are sandpaper would be a great thing just to give them that texture. So there's a lot of different things you can use. If you need me to send you guys worksheets, please email me and let me know, and I will send some worksheets. But cutting is a great skill to work on. Make sure that they're using their helper hand. When they're holding the paper and they're cutting, their thumb also has to be up. So if they're cutting, you want it to look like this. Their thumb is up for both of them, the cutting hand and the stabilizing hand. If you see them cutting and holding it like this, it's going to be trickier. So you really want to flip their hand over and make sure that their thumb is facing up for both. So just some things to keep in mind. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions or if you need help. Bye.